you want. Whatever's good for you. So for briefly, not for too long, because I know it's late already, and we're going to daven, and a lot of things to go on. But I wanted to share a little bit of Torah about what to me is what's burning most in my heart right now. I feel like if I'm not going to share a little bit what's in my heart, then it's not going to really go into anyone's heart. Because only if something that's in my heart has a chance of, hopefully, B'ezrat Hashem, reaching someone. And hopefully it'll reach myself by the end of the night as well. We're building a really beautiful keilah right now in Efrat, a really beautiful community. And a lot of young kids, a lot of parents with young children. And one of the classes we've been doing on a regular basis on Shabbat afternoon has been classes on parenting. Not necessarily methods. You have a lot of parenting books, Parenting 101, all the greatest things in the world, but I basically looking at parenting and wondering what our children are thinking about. Having enough guts to ask ourselves very uncomfortable questions, to say, what do you think your child really thinks about you? Or what is your child really, if they would have to choose to draw a picture of you and no one was looking, what would it look like? Would it be someone with a smile? Or would it look like someone with a frown? All those very uncomfortable questions which leave people who come to share looking like this, leaving looking like this. It's very heavy stuff, right? It's never the point. The point isn't to depress people. The point is only to talk about tachlis. What are we busy doing here? We go to so many Torah classes. We go to so many different shiurim. And we learn so many different beautiful things and concepts. And a lot of information. A lot of information. But when it comes to questions about parents and children, information is never going to be enough for me. Feeling alive and having enough koach to do whatever I need to do in order to always better the relationship between parents and children, that's Eitz Chaim Hi L'Machzikim Ba. Doesn't say Eitz Da'ati L'Machzikim Ba. Doesn't say the Torah is a tree of knowledge for those who attain more and more knowledge. Eitz Chaim Hi L'Machzikim Ba. Those who really are holding on to the Torah, it's a tree of life, to give you life, to give you koach, how to mamish live, and how to bring more life into the world. So I wanted to just say a few things connecting the parsha, Dafka, to this concept of parenting. And I felt it'd be appropriate also tonight, as we're celebrating the life, commemorating the life of your Abba. Talk about this concept about parents and children, because to me it never, ever, ever gets old, especially when you look at it through the lens of not just how am I with my children, or how are my parents with me, is how do I think about Abba Sheva Shamayim? What do I really think about him? And what does he really think about me? What does Hashem really think about me? What would I do in order to get that little piece of information? When my name comes up before the Kisei HaKavod, do they cringe? Are they happy? Is there nachat? Is there simcha taking place when my neshama, my name is being brought up before Kisei HaKavod? So in our parsha, there's something, this parsha of Balak is the most bizarre parsha in the whole Torah, obviously, right? It's so bizarre. These two characters don't make any sense. Balak and Bilam, this guy's trying to curse, brachos come out. You have a donkey that starts talking. The whole thing is very, very weird. It's very bizarre. It's not stam that this parsha, the two characters, Balak and Bilam, says the Talmud Rebbe, spell out the words Bilbul Amok, Balak and Bilam. That's what they spell out, Bilbul Amok, which is like mass, deep confusion, where nothing's adding up. Kind of like the state of Olam Hazeh, more or less, right? Just a lot of Bilbul. And this parsha, amongst all the reasons that it's so weird and so bizarre, is that if you took the parsha out of the Torah and continued with the parsha of Pinchas, there'd be no problem continuing. You could continue the Torah without a problem. Meaning the storyline continues without any interruptions. It's not like you have some missing info or things that don't link up. Yank out Parshat Balak from the Torah, and specifically from Sefer Bamidbar, pull it out, you're fine. Everything still works out. You can't say that about any other parsha. Even the ones that we fall asleep in during Sefer Vayikra, those Karbanos ones that, you have to have someone to pinch you every few seconds to remind you that there's a Torah, because it's not exactly the most exciting details. Every parsha you have to have in order not just for the chronology to continue on a chronological order, but for the mashma'ut, for the Am Yisrael, to understand the linking of Am Yisrael, you need every parsha to be in there. Balak is the only one. You take out Balak from the Seder, it's fine, you continue. Maybe you leave the last few psukim of Pinchas' story already. But jump to Pinchas, and you're fine. So the question is, why is it so necessary to keep such a bizarre story in the Torah when it's not even really, really, really needed? When it's not even really, really needed. Well, we're going to try to redefine this concept of what's really needed and what's things that are less needed in our lives. And when we do that cheshbon hanefesh of what's really needed in our life, all the things we really need versus all the things we don't really need, but it's a luxury to have them, we'd probably get rid of 90% of our possessions. Thinking about things that you really need. Ever happened to you? It happened to me a few months ago. I came to Chicago, got there on a Thursday, I think, and I was leaving Sunday morning. My luggage, it was through Air Berlin. I don't know if you ever flew that. Also like a Bilbul Amok airline. Very weird energy on that airplane. And my bag didn't make it. I show up to Chicago. I have nothing. I have a rental car. I don't have any of my clothes. Nothing. Shabbos, nothing. And then I realized, and I made it fine. And I managed fine. And my luggage, Baruch Hashem, they found it, and it got to where I was staying right before I had to turn around and go back to the airport. Right? Mom was right in time, like 2 days later. But you always realize in situations like that which you think that you need, you don't end up really, really needing. It's things you want. But it's good to mamish make a differentiation between what I need and what I want. It's very important. So this is the story. One of the greatest Hasidic Rebbes, who was a mamish, a batlan, which means like a bum. Yes, I don't want to say it, but I don't know what a better word is. Like the story about Rabbi Zusha, Rabbi Limelech's brother was mamish, had nothing, Shemin nothing. So there was another one of these Rebbes who had nothing at all. His name was Beryl the Batlan. Later on, he becomes a great Hasidic master, but a Beryl of the town of Radoshitz. The Radoshitz Rebbe, Beryl comes from there, it's a whole lineage there, but for now, Beryl was a complete Batlan. Now, as you know, every Rebbe had a favorite mitzvah that was more special to him than any other bracha in the world. Each Rebbe had one mitzvah they said they did with more kavanah than other than. It was like their favorite little bracha, their favorite mitzvah. Beryl the Batlan had nothing, sheba nothing, complete bum. And what was his bracha that he woke up saying with more kavanah than any other bracha every morning in Birkot HaShachar? You get to, Baruch Atah Hashem and then when he came to the following bracha, he screamed it with more kavanah and more simcha and more conviction than any of the other brachas. What bracha was that? Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam She'asa li kol tzarki. What's that? What now? Chassidim are looking at him, saying, "Come on." Any other bracha we could have bought, that's the bracha you're choosing to say with utmost kavanah. Shem Yisbarach, you gave me everything I need. Look at you, look at your life. Who are you kidding? Stop making a mockery. Ata mevazeh ta bracha. You're making a bizayon of the bracha. You have nothing. She'asa li kol tzarki. So one of the Chassidim came up to him and said, Beryl, what's pshat here? Why are you saying shtuyot? So Beryl the Batlan looks at him and says to him, excuse me, how in the world do you know that I don't have every single thing I need in order to do my job in this world? I don't say, She'asa li kol retzoni, that Hashem gave me everything that I wanted. I say, She'asa li kol tzarki, that Hashem gave me, I believe that Hashem gave me everything that I need in order to be Beryl today, in order to do what I'm supposed to be doing in this world. So this differentiation between needing something versus wanting something is very important with that kind of way of understanding the difference to look at every parsha and to look at really every story of our lives. Just think of it today. How many things that you did today, stuff you needed to do and you thought you mamish needed to do, or stuff you really wanted to do, right? I needed to go on Facebook 35 times in the hour. That's something I needed to do. No. You wanted to do it. Then you'll decide if it's good for you or not. But without judging, just put things into perspective. So where do we come to? And we'll get back to Balak at the end. And end's not so far, so don't worry. What do children need? What do children really, really need? And I'm not just talking about our children, those of us that are blessed to have little children. I'm talking about that in each and every one of us, males that are in this room, that are ranging be'erach from the age of, mid-20s to late 60s, early 70s, doesn't matter what age. There's a child that's very much chai v'kayam within us as well. Our bodies have grown, more facial hair, less hair up here, but the child is still very, very much alive. What do children need? Not want. What do they need? They want a lot of things. And if you ask a child, well, a baby, they can't really differentiate. And it's not about them to learn that lesson at a very young age. But when we look at what children are asking for, what do they really need? They usually don't say what they really need. So let's talk right now about a 6, 7-year-old or an 8, 10-year-old. Ask them what they need. They'll say a bunch of things. In our parenting classes, we've been learning that what children really, really need is that they need to know that their parents really do think that they're special people. That's what children really need. More than anything. A child needs to know that their parent, not just because they say, I love you, they need to know it inside their heart of hearts, that their parents actually are fond of them and really, really, really like them, not just love them. Like them, that's already a big thing. To like someone. Love, what a word we use all the time. Like, different story. That parents like their children. So in this last week or the week before, what we did in our segment in our class and on parenting, we asked ourselves if we really could find out from someone else and ask our children, what do you think your parents think of you? We'd probably be shocked. Because we're certain that our child knows. We love them like it's no one's business. Really? How do they know that? Oh, come on, it's something that they know. Or I tell them all the time. I can't tell you enough times how many times the following has happened. My daughters, I have 4 beautiful daughters, Baruch Hashem. My older I have 2 of them are older, 7 and 6, then there's 2-year-old and a 7-month-old. So the 2 older ones, sometimes they'll listen to concerts that I do outside of the country. So they'll hear me talking about whatever it is at a concert. And quite often I try, not because it's something that I'm trying to make a point of, it's just very naturally for me. It's very natural to always be talking about my children, no matter where it is. So last year it happened, I was in Toronto, I was in Canada, and it was around November time. And I went off this whole thing. I guess I really, really missed my kids that Shabbos. I don't know what it was. And I basically, it was like I felt so bad. They paid so much money to come to this concert for Shlomo Katz's self-therapy about missing his own children while he's traveling. It was basically just talking about them the whole time. And they heard about it. And when I came home, the older one said, she looked at me like this. I said, what happened? I heard what you said. I heard you told them, all these people there, what you think of me, how much you miss me, how much you love me. I can't believe it. So I said to her, yeah, but I tell you all the time. She said, yeah, but you told them? You told them? She couldn't believe it. You told them? It's almost as if that when children find out from a third party, from other people, what we think about how much we love them, it's somehow, I don't know why it's like this, but somehow it's like that goes in sometimes even deeper. Because maybe a child's thinking, you're telling me the right thing. You're being a politically correct parent. And you're telling me the right thing, that I am cute, I am beautiful. Great. Sometimes I believe you, sometimes I don't, because I think you're just doing the right thing. But when you're going out and you know that I'm not even in the crowd, and you're telling all these people how beautiful I am, oh my God, that's crazy. And I learned from her how much that touches her in such an infinite way, and that's why I'm very machmir now to never ever tell her that I love her, only to strangers. Just want to see if anyone's still with me. No, chas v'chalila. But I just see, I understand this element is very, very, very strong. Now, where do we see that in the Torah? Where do we see it in our parsha? Am Yisrael is not part of the story of Balak and Bilam. It's about Am Yisrael trying to curse Am Yisrael, but we're not there. We're not even in the story. When do we show up? Not in the greatest place. We show up later in the parsha when we're up to no good already with Vayachal Am Lisna, whatever. I'm going to talk about that now. But we're in the parsha with Balak and Bilam. Am Yisrael is not even in the story. It's Balak and Bilam doing their thing. Hashem, donkeys. It's not about. There's no Yid in there. So when did we learn about Parshat Balak and Parshat Bilam? When did Am Yisrael first learn about this story? What do you think? I was thinking about this today. When was the first time Jews found out about this story, about that happened with Balak? What do you think? Does anyone have an idea?
And the Torah was wrote. When Moshe wrote the Torah, huh?
Yes, but so when did they? But when was the first time they heard about this?
Before
So how long after this story? Remember, when is this story taking place? It's pretty much close to the end. Mm-hmm. It's the last stop before you go into Eretz Yisrael, right? Arvot Moav al Yarden Yerecho. You're right there. Mm-hmm. But they're not learning about it live. So let's say they're learning about it half a year later, or even 10 months later. I don't know exactly how it works out. We probably could cheshbon out when is Zayin Adar, when Moshe Rabbeinu was Ptira, then when did we go in? I don't know exactly. It's not important right now. What's important is to realize that they only heard about the story afterwards. Now, can you imagine what was going on throughout Sefer Bamidbar? Last Parshat Chukat, how long is that Parsha? Chronologically speaking, it's about 38 to 39 years. Out of the 40 years in the desert, 38 to 39 years of that take place in 87 psukim, Parshat Chukat. I'm not such a gaon that I know the numbers of each parsha. It's just my Bar Mitzvah parsha. I was so happy that when I found out it was 87, and Parshat Naso was a few parshas before me, so I felt saved. Kimat 40 years happen in one parsha. Let me ask you, when you look at Sefer Bamidbar, Rabbi Shlomo Katz used to call this book the book of mistakes. Big people, big neshamas, doing a lot of mistakes. From the beginning. Miriam, Aaron, Moshe, Korach's the big neshama. Tzlofchad, the Mekoshesh Etzim, very big neshama. Even Balak and Bilam, to the extent that we can understand, specifically Bilam, to the extent that we can understand, it's people doing a lot of mistakes. Am Yisrael kvetching, doing a lot of mistakes. If you had to ask Jews during Sefer Bamidbar, what do you think God thinks about you? What do you think the Jewish people would say about what they think how their father looks at them from Shemayim? Probably horrible. Probably up to no good. We keep on messing up. Our leaders are messing up. We keep on making mistake after mistake. There's plague after plague. We obviously are not getting the message, and perhaps maybe this whole promise to lead us to the Holy Land, we might have messed that up too, and we don't even know what's going to be. Then they're told the whole Torah again before they go inside by Moshe Rabbeinu. Comes to Parshas Balak. And what do they hear while they're learning Parshat Balak? While they're in a headspace of, we've really been messing up really, really bad. I don't think that he's really so happy with us. What are they hearing? They're hearing psukim like what? Lo hibit aven beYaakov, velo ra'a amal beYisrael, Hashem Elokav imo, utruat melech bo. They're hearing the most beautiful. You know what that pasuk means? It means when Hashem looks down at Am Yisrael, He doesn't see anything wrong. The trua of the king, Hashem is with these people. The trua of the king is with them. They're hearing the most glorious things about the way Hashem thinks about them. There's even a pasuk which really must have made them feel like, oh my God, this is what he thinks about me? Remember what he says to Bilam? Lo ta'or et ha'am hazeh ki varuchu. Hashem tells Bilam, listen, it's not going to work. You can't curse these people. Why? Because you'll never know how much I love them. They're blessed. You can't fathom it. You just have no idea how special these people are. I'm not even going to try to explain it to you, Hashem says to Bilam. Lo ta'or et ha'am hazeh ki varuchu. You will not be able to curse these people because they're blessed. And who's reading these words? Am Yisrael is reading these words. And how are they hearing about it? In third person. And they're walking around to each other right before they go into Eretz Yisrael, and they're saying, at their last stop, they're saying, did you hear what he said about us? Did you hear what God thinks about us? Did you hear how he spoke to us to somebody else? And Mamish thought about it, lahavdil, just that story with my daughter, what she felt like when she heard the way I was talking about her to other people. There's something to it, take it or leave it, there's something very deep to it. So it seems, on the question of do we need it, Parashat Balak, on a chronological order of the Torah, of the storyline, we don't need it. You keep on going. But on a Shamadika level, on a Hashkafa, on a Ruchni level, Gval, do we need Parashat Balak to happen? How badly we as children of Hashem needed to hear, indirectly, what he thinks about us, to give us strength, to go into that last stop, to make it after that last stop, especially after our leader is going to leave us very soon on a chronological level, even though we still have a few more parashiyot in Bamidbar and a whole book of Dvarim, but on a timeline, we don't have that much more time left with Moshe Rabbeinu. Do we need it? The child in us needed it. The child in us needs Parshas Balak, maybe more than it thinks it needs other parashiyot. Because a child needs to feel that when their father is talking about them to someone else, he's just boasting with pride. He's just boasting with pride. Not to get too crazy emotional right now, but can you imagine right now your Abba walking around in Gan Eden telling people, look what my son put together tonight? This is what he chose to do tonight on my Yahrzeit. Boasting with pride. That's, if we could tap into that and choose to believe that that's what's happening in Shemayim right now, but that's what's happening in our daily lives, really whenever our enemies are coming to Hashem saying, look at this garbage. And Hashem is saying, excuse me? Hashem Elokav imo tuat melech bo. Lo hibit avim b'Yaakov v'lo ra'amar b'Yisrael. If we choose to take those psukim and say, that's what I'm believing, that's what I believe. Not that I'm exempt now and I can do whatever I want. I can do any Avera in the book because Lo ra'amar b'Yaakov, lo hibit avim b'Yaakov v'lo ra'amar b'Yisrael. That's kindergarten. To use that, to bank on that as a cop-out, as I have a get-out-of-jail-free card for the rest of my life. That's not going to work. But on a pnimi level, we learn from Parashat Balak, and this whole story of the Bilbul Amok, what is really necessary for the children of Am Yisrael is that we need, remember the story, if you look at it interestingly enough, the story with Benot Moav, Vayachal Ha'am Liznot, we didn't hear yet about the story about Balak and Bilam. We didn't believe yet enough in ourselves, possibly, that we have it in us to overcome anything. Because when a father believes in a child, and a child knows this, and they know it's real, they can do anything in the world. Anything in the world. If we felt and believed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu believes in us to get the job done, we could do anything in the world. Where does a Chabad Shliach get that passion and determination and this mindset of there's a job to get done? There's not one Jew in the radius of 500,000 miles from here, but I will guarantee you there's going to be a Beit Chabad here by next summer, right? Where does it come from? He's really connected to what the Rebbe brought down to him, that Hashem believes in him to elevate all Jewish sparks that need their sparks to be touched and elevated. It's the emunah that Hashem has in us to get the job done. This is, I think, it seems to me, that this is why Parshas Balak is not just a very interesting story and that could be taken out when it comes to children having the opportunity to hear what their parents really think about them. Letovah, there's no shaila. It's an absolute must. It's an absolute must. It's what we need more than anything, because we would do anything in the world as parents. And those of you who aren't parents yet, you should be blessed to get married. If you're already married and need children, the gate should open to bring in healthy and holy, beautiful Jewish children. And we're in the house of two new neshamas at the... How old are they now?
5 months.
5 months. Every can you imagine if we would be raising homes where Jewish children knew they had a da'at pnimi. They had this insight, not an intuition. They knew like we know this is a guitar. They knew that their parents are saying about them psukim like what was coming out of Bilam's mouth about Yidden. What kind of a chinuch, what kind of a complete reform there'd be in the world of chinuch. It'd be amazing. It'd be incredible. Imagine kehilot built like that. That just like, we were so machmir on all different things of zmanim and tzitzis and getting up davening with the minyan, and those are all important. But parents were just as machmir on themselves to make sure their children truly, truly know how much their parents believe in them. Different world we'd have. We'd have a completely different world. So it seems that that's really the depth of the, not just Parshat Balak Bichlal, but Dafka showing up here, in the middle of a sefer, where we keep on messing up, and have every reason to think that Hashem doesn't think the world of us. So we'll just end with a very, very, my favorite story in the world, and I'm not saying it lightly, it really is. I even put it on an album, one of my albums, because when I heard this story, I said, I really want every single person I can to hear this story. So, Mechila, if you've heard it, I think you've heard it, but many of you have heard of the Nativot Shalom, right? The Rebbe of Slonim, the Slonim Rebbe. Become more and more available and accessible the last 20 years since his Patira. I think he passed away approximately 20 years ago. Anyway, his grandfather, the previous Rebbe of Slonim, was traveling in Russia, in White Russia. He was traveling with one of his shamases, and they reached a certain inn, which means like a krechmer, which means like a broken down 1800s Russian motel. If those of you who have been to Ukraine, nothing's really changed. You see, it's the same broken down things that happened back then. And he was very tired after a long day of seeing a lot of people. He's in the lobby of the motel, and he spots this Jew from far, other side of the room, and this Jew caught his eye. He looked very special. He wanted to know who he was. Meet him. He starts walking towards him. But this old woman comes to, Heilige Slonim Rebbe, please, can you bless my child? He's so sick. We need some help. Of course. Starts giving a bracha. Finishes the bracha, and by the time he lifts his eyes, that Jew that he spotted before, he's out of the room. Okay, whatever, what could I do? Can't see him. The next night, the same exact thing happens. Before he goes to sleep in this motel, he sees that Yidul is standing there. And he looks even more, he's shining even more than the night before in the Rebbe's eyes. It's like, wow, I really got to make sure. I got to go to him right now. Starts walking towards him right away. Right then and there, two other Hasidim see him. Rebbe, we traveled for so long. Please, we need an eitzah. Our business is crashing. You have to help us right now. We traveled for so many hours to come and ask you. We heard you were here. What's the Rebbe going to do? Of course, he drops everything and he sits down with these Hasidim and guides them and counsels them through whatever's going on. And then he lifts up his eyes again, and of course, that Yid is gone. So if I ended the story now, that'd be a really depressing Hasidic tale. Obviously, there's a third night, right? It has to be a third night. And it has to be a third night where the Rebbe sees him, and he's shining even more than the previous night. It was almost like when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai, he had to put a masveh on his face, mamish, like to cover, because he was shining so much. And this time the Rebbe says, I don't care who's here, who's coming to me, I need to go and grab this guy. And he charges towards him. And he says to him, Rabbi Yid, who are you? I've been seeing you the last few nights. You know, Rebbes have like Rebbe vision. You know, they could see these things that most people can't see. You see, like you're really, who are you? The guy says to him, who am I? Chaim, local tailor. I travel here. Family business, been doing it for years. My father did it. My grandfather did it. No. I could see there's something more to you. Who are you? Where are you from? Where'd you learn? Who's your Rebbe? Who's my Rebbe? Where'd I learn? Not really my thing. Sorry. In fact, I had a lot of learning disabilities when I was younger. It was very hard for me to even read. I never got through a Balak Gemara. Learning wasn't my thing. I'm a simple Yid. And I just do the family business. I never even learned by anyone big. I don't have a Rebbe. I don't have Yichus. Who's your father, your grandfather? No, it's a family business. Strange. The Rebbe says to him, I'm really sorry to bother you. He starts walking away from him. He starts thinking to himself, wow, my Rebbe vision really did get pagum, became blemished. So, Rabbi. Yeah, he turns around. This Chaim says to him, you know, I never told anybody anything, but there's this one thing that I do every night. I don't know, I feel like sharing it with someone, and you look like someone that would probably enjoy hearing about it. Rebbe says, yeah. So Chaim says, well, you know, since I could barely even read, because of me just having these learning disabilities, I figured, like, you know, what does a Jew do? A Jew davens, but I can't daven out of a sitter. So every night before I go to sleep, instead of saying Kriyat Shema Shalamita that all my friends say, I decided to make up a little prayer, and that's like the extent of my Judaism. That's what I do every night. I say the little prayer that I made up years ago, and that's my life. The Rebbe said, really? And what is your prayer? So Chaim said to him, it's no big deal. I basically say, God, if you think that I can do that which you need me to do tomorrow, then give me one more day. But if you don't think I can do it, then don't wake me up. By the way, when I do it in concert, it's much more intense and deep. You know, it's like, that last line is like 5 minutes, you know? But like, think, you know, God, if you, basically the Slonim, he heard that word. They say in Slonim, that like shaped the whole Chassidut of Slonim. If you think that I could do that which you sent me down here to do, give me one more day. But if you don't think that I could do it, please don't be cruel and waste my time in a world that it's impossible for me to do the shnichus, that which you sent me down here to do. So I think in the schus of your Abba, Be'ezer Hashem Yitbarach, we're all here. It's another year. We're all here. We're gathering here together now. Be'ezer Hashem by next year Shmitchias Amesim. We're back here. It's another year of commemorating for your family. And we're here still in this world because if Hashem didn't believe that we could do that which our neshamas and in our bodies are supposed to do in this world, Emunah means that we wouldn't be here. We Pashut wouldn't be here. But what do I need in order to feel like I can do it? What's the medicine, what's the koyach to give me Eitz Chaim, like we began saying, life? What do I really need, not just want? I need to feel that when my name comes before my parents and before my Abba and B'Shamayim, they're mamish proud. There's nachas. And there's no doubt in our minds that tonight, that's what you brought for all of us and basically for you and your family before the Kisei HaKavod. It's filled with nachas. And that should give us enough strength in our private lives, our personal lives, and our tzibur lives, and our general lives, to finally really have enough koach to work on all the inspiration that we've been receiving, that moments of inspiration, whatever it is in life where we said, wow, now I could really become someone gewalt, and then it gets weak. Tonight's that recharging of the batteries, reconnecting the dots, to really feel like it really, really, really is possible. Everything is possible. We should all be privileged to see and witness and be part of binyan beis hamikdash hashlishi במהרה בימינו. One more nigga, we'll have it.